we're focusing today on Hanuman. And first thing I'll mention, which perhaps is something not well known to many of us, is that Hanuman is at least referred to in Bhagavad Gita. He appears in the first chapter, verse 20, which is as follows: Atava vyavastitan drishtva dhartarashtra kapi dvaja pravrate shastra sampate danur udyamya pandava rishikesham tadavakyam idam aha mahi pate. So he's referred to here, the Sanskrit term is kapi dvaja. Kapi means the monkey, dvaja, who's on the flag. Yes, so the translation is as follows. At that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these words. And what Arjuna then said is not stated here, but it's there in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So yes, Arjuna, it is his practice. Of course, Arjuna is a great warrior. in Sanskrit, kshatriya. And he uses a chariot, and it is his practice that on the flag on his chariot is Hanuman. And an interesting and very important point actually is that these great transcendental spiritual persons like Hanuman, who you can see there on the altar, and Sitaram, Lakshman, Radha and Krishna and so on, like that, these great spiritual personalities, they are actually present. They're present in any sort of depictions of them, meaning even just some painting or picture or something. There's Hanuman up there, you see, here just looking, watching me. He has his eye on me. But seriously, yes, all these great personalities, whether it be in a deity form as on the altar, or whether it be in the form of a picture, that particular person is present. That principle does not apply to ordinary people. Ordinary people, generally everyone has some photos of themselves, or maybe their parents or their children. That's very popular. But those photos they're just there to remind the person, whoever has been photographed, is not actually present in the photo or the painting or something like that. But in these great spiritual, the case of these great spiritual personalities, they are actually present. So if you speak to them, they hear you. Of course, we are not on such elevated levels, so they may speak to us. We may not hear them. Yes. Anyway, sometimes it happens, of course, but we're not on that level. Sometimes we tell an amusing little story in that regard. Let me just take a minute to tell you it. There is somewhere, let's just say somewhere in Malabar, why not? That there's a house and a husband and wife are staying there. And every day the husband goes to work, the wife stays at home. And so they decide what she will cook for supper for the evening meal. So in this case, they discuss it a little and they decide, yes, what shall we cook? What will the wife cook? Husband suggests, how about, like a vegetable rice, pulao, some rice with peas or something. And how about a little aloo, a little potato? And they agree, yes, okay. Then the husband goes to work. And of course, being a very devoted and dedicated husband, he works in an office. On his desk, what does he have? A picture of his wife, of course. Yes. So, but during the course of the day, the husband, he's thinking about, this vegetable rice, how many times do I have it? And just some potatoes. Gosh, I'd rather have something different. So he speaks to the picture of his wife and says, you know what, I've changed my mind. I would like something a little more special. I would like some deep-fried cauliflower with paneer and some puris, and maybe some halava also as something sweet. So he tells that to the picture of his wife. And then in the evening he goes back home, and what does he get served? Take a guess. Some rice with peas and some potato. And he says, but wait a minute. I told you. I wanted deep-fried cauliflower and paneer and puris. And the wife says, what? You never told me that. So anyway, it's just a fact that we're not on that level, but Hanuman, here and here, he's hearing us and watching us. Seriously, literally. So anyway, in that case there, this is right at the beginning of the battle. It's right at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, first chapter, verse 20, if you want to look it up later. And Hanuman is on the flag. It's not just some picture, some artist sort of splashed a bit of paint around. He's actually there. And in fact, the description is there in Mahabharata of how at some point during the battle, well, at a few points, Arjuna got into some difficulty. Some of the opposing warriors came and they were really having a go at him. And it didn't look so good for Arjuna. And at least one time, the description is there, Hanuman jumped off the flag. And he jumped down and he roared like a lion. Or maybe, I don't know if you ever heard an elephant roar. They're stronger than, so stronger than lions. So Hanuman just roared, and everyone on the battlefield heard this. Everyone was shocked, and they stopped momentarily, and many of them were frightened. And even it says there, even Krishna, who was there, Krishna was also shocked. So anyway, we must not underestimate Hanuman or any of these great persons. You know, monkeys, I suppose you have monkeys here and there around PE. Do you have monkeys? A bit. In Durban, we have monkeys, sure. Around our temple in Chatsworth, my gosh, they're a nuisance. So, you know, monkeys cannot speak. Hanuman can speak. And he doesn't speak, you know, some, you know, sort of pidgin language or kitchen, like kitchen Hindi, South African Hindi, kitchen Hindi. He speaks Sanskrit, proper Sanskrit, like according to the grammar, which is, sure, is too complicated for the vast majority of people. So Hanuman and other of his associates, Sugriva and others, they speak better than we can speak. I don't know if he speaks Gujarati, but anyway, if not Gujarati, but he speaks Sanskrit, which is the root of Gujarati. And of course, Hanuman is famous as the great devotee of Lord Ram. Very, very great devotee. You know, it was actually a year and a half ago or a bit less, or anyway, something like that, maybe October of 24, I was in Ayodhya, and we went to the big temple, of course, the new temple, and there were so many places. The famous Hanuman temple, which is there, forget the name of it. Yes, that's it, right, yeah. I mean, it's small, but yeah, it's very, very popular. So yes, Hanuman is a very great transcendental person who is to be worshipped. And he's not just some monkey. You know, monkeys have bad reputations. So anyway, and he's a great devotee of Lord Ram. Just at that time, we were in Ayodhya, and what did we do? You weren't there, were you? No. We were in Haridwar, I think. Or anyway, we went to Nandigram, which that must be by Ayodhya, actually. Nandigram. I don't know if you've been there. Sure, really.
18 kilometers from.
It's not far, and it's really nice. My Lord. The main temple is, there's a few temples. The main temple is Lord Ram embracing Hanuman. Yeah, and very nice, big deities. And beautiful lotus pond, my gosh, huge, good couple of acres. So, yeah, Hanuman is a great devotee. He's dedicated to Lord Ram. And I just want to read one more verse. It is from Valmiki Ramayana, somewhere in Valmiki Ramayana. Bhavabandha chidetasyai sprihayami namuktaye bhavan prabhur aham dasa iti yatra vilupyate. So Hanuman says, I do not desire liberation that cuts the bondage of material life, because in that state of liberation, he's actually speaking to Lord Ram, because in that state of liberation, awareness that you are the master and I am the servant disappears in that sort of impersonal state. The intimacy, the closeness of personal relationship is not really there. So therefore he's saying, I don't want sprihayami na muktaye. Mukti means liberation, but na muktaye, I don't want that liberation. So let us just recite a few little pastimes. There's so many little pastimes, or so many pastimes and some big pastimes of Hanuman. First one, the appearance of Hanuman, that in Kailash, Lord Shiva and Parvati are having some, sort of husband and wife exchanges in the gardens and just enjoying each other's company. And then they just assumed, just took the forms of monkeys. And in those forms of monkeys, they conceived a child. They conceived a child. And then they returned to their regular sort of human-like forms. And Parvati became anxious. And she said to Lord Shiva, I already have one child who's like an elephant. That's Ganpati Ganesh. I already have one child who's like an elephant, or partially like an elephant. And if I have one who's a monkey, that's going to be too much. So I don't want to have this child. I don't want to have this child. So they didn't have an abortion as such, but what happened was Lord Shiva approached Vayu, the Lord of the winds, and they know each other extremely well. And Shiva, being on a higher level, he does some things for Vayu, and Vayu owes him some favors like this. So Lord Shiva went to Vayu and said, listen, you owe me a favor, right? In such a way that Vayu understood, oh, okay, yes. The answer is yes. So he said, all right, yes, sure, what can I do for you? And Lord Shiva said, will you please carry this embryo, which is now in the womb of Parvati, but we can just transfer, transfer without harming the embryo. We can transfer the embryo to you. So a little unusual because Vayu is male, but he was carrying Hanuman for some time. So he agreed, and he was carrying Hanuman. But then after some time, when the time was just about there for Hanuman to appear, then he did also another sort of embryo, not exactly embryo, but like little baby transfer of Hanuman to Anjana, who was the queen of the monkeys, because he understood this is going to be a monkey. So like this, Hanuman was born directly as the son of Anjana, who's the queen of the monkeys, Therefore, one of his names and popular name of Hanuman is Anjaneya. He's the son of Anjana. But he's also known as the son of Vayu, and he's also known as the son of Lord Shiva and Parvati. And some people get confused about this. How does Hanuman have like multiple parents? But this is how it actually works. This is how it worked. And Hanuman, as a child, a little monkey, Hanuman was a character. I mean, most children, or even all children, are characters. And he really was a character. He was very mischievous, and he loved eating fruit. And he was always bothering his mother, give me some fruit, give me some fruit. So after some time, she told him, listen, you go and get some fruit yourself. It's growing on all the trees. And Hanuman said, well, how do I know what I should take? And she said, well, you take anything which is red and ripe and looks something like the sun. She indicated the sun. So then Hanuman decided he would eat the sun. He became hungry, and he looked up into the trees and through the trees. And you know what the sun looks like? It doesn't look like it's huge, massive, gigantic. It looks small. You could even think maybe like a fruit of some sort. So Hanuman, he went flying up into the sky and took the sun into his mouth. Yeah. Now, as it was happening, as this was all going on, Indra, Lord Indra, who is, he's not on the level of Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma or Lord Vishnu, but he is the chief of what they call the administrative demigods who are managing the functions of the universe. He was having a big meeting, and suddenly everything went dark because Hanuman was holding the sun in his mouth. And so the whole universe went dark. And Indra became disturbed that, who has done this? And, what do they think they're doing? And I'm going to teach them a lesson. He has his characteristic weapon, just like Lord Krishna, Lord Narayan, has the chakra, Sudarshan chakra, like Lord Ram has his bow and arrows. So Lord Indra has a thunderbolt, a bolt of lightning. So he threw this in the direction which he thought was, where this person who's taken the sun is. He hurled it, and it hit Hanuman in the mouth, and it broke one of his teeth. And are you aware of this? This is how Hanuman got the name Hanuman. You're aware of that. Anyway, if you were not, you are now. Hanuman means he who has the broken tooth. Yeah, that's how he got the name. Otherwise, he was Anjaneya up to that point. So it broke his tooth or damaged his jaw, something like that. Hanu, jaw in Sanskrit is Hanu, damaged his jaw. So anyway, now all the Devas and Devis, they were there in this meeting with Lord Indra. And now they understand what's going on. So they all, one by one, they started approaching Hanuman to ask him, please give the sun back. So Lord Brahma was there. Lord Brahma lives 311 trillion, 40 billion of our years, give or take a few billion. Long time. So he said, look, I give you a blessing. Mera Ashirvad. You will live as long as me. Yeah. Or you can live as long as you like. Just give us the sun back. But now, you know, Hanuman was a bit agitated because his jaw and his tooth got smashed. So he just said, no. And then Agni came and said, I bless you. Fire will never burn you. And this is how, later on, when Hanuman jumped to Lanka to find Sita and try to identify Sita and make sure that she really is there before Lord Ram and his army attacks, because if she's not there, well, it would not be, it wouldn't be good to attack the place. So he went there, and he actually allowed himself to be captured, Hanuman. And they decided, Ravana and company, decided, let us have some fun by setting his tail on fire. So they lit his tail, which was burning, just the end, but it didn't hurt him at all. And in fact, he then went flying around Lanka, turning everything, lighting everything up. Yeah, that was from this blessing from Agni. And Indra blessed him. You will become as famous as me. Vayu said, you will be as fast as me. And Hanuman is just saying, no, no, in a sort of, angry type of voice. So what to do? Now, Lord Brahma has great mystical powers. He can read people's minds. I don't know if you've ever been in the company of someone who can read minds. It can be very embarrassing and very awkward. Yeah. So anyway, Lord Brahma read his mind. And what was Hanuman thinking about? Fruit. He was thinking of fruit. So Lord Brahma told Brihaspati, and Brihaspati said, listen, Hanuman, I will give you all the fruit that there is, and I will give you the knowledge of Ayurveda, so you will know all the fruits, and you'll know all the plants, all the trees, and you will know any plant in creation and what are the special qualities of each plant. And in this way, you'll know what plant can cure what disease. So then Dhanvantari said that, I bless you. You put medicine on anyone, any medicine, even if they're dead, and they'll come back to life. So then Hanuman opened his mouth, he gave the sun back, and that was that for the time being at least. So, right, let's go on a bit. We have till 7:45. Okay, fine. So like I said, Hanuman was a mischievous little monkey getting up to monkey business. And he liked to do practical jokes on people and then laugh at the people. So there was this one sage who was living near to where he was living with his mother. And that sage was living just in like a grass hut, a straw hut. And it had a door at the front and a door at the back, and it was just one little room, and that was it. And Hanuman knew that this sage, every morning, early, he gets up and goes and passes stool down somewhere near the river and then takes bath in the river. So Hanuman thought, let me play a trick on him. So Hanuman caught an elephant and a tiger. He was very powerful, like full-grown elephant and full-grown tiger. And he put the elephant in front of the sage's front door and the tiger in front of the sage's back door. And then he just left them there and he waited for the fun. So the elephant's waiting, the tiger's waiting. And now the sage comes out and he's got to rush off to the toilet. Sure, you know what it's like. And he opened the front door. There's this elephant like a few feet away. And he slammed the door. Wow, what is going on? But I got to go to the toilet. I'll go out the back door. Open the back door. There's the tiger. Now he's caught. So anyway, then Hanuman chased the animals away and opened the door and went sort of like, ha, 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 the joke's on you. Ha, 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 ha. But the sage was not amused. He was just not amused. So you know what he did? He cursed Hanuman. This is a very famous incident because Hanuman was extremely powerful. He was able to hold the sun in his mouth. He just captured by hand an elephant and a tiger. He was extremely powerful. So the sage cursed him. I curse you that you will forget your power. You'll just forget that you have power. And you'll think you're just an ordinary monkey. So that curse was in place for years, just until Sita was kidnapped. Anyway, let's just carry on with one or two other little incidents. There's one very nice incident while he's still there staying with his mother. They had a palace. They were not just living in a tree or something like that. They had a palace because they were royalty. And Hanuman was a good singer. In fact, he was an incredible singer. Very, very amazing singer. And he became famous for being like practically the best singer that there is. So one day, Narada Muni, the great traveling sage and mendicant, he heard about Hanuman, and he himself, he's also a musician and singer. So he wanted to hear Hanuman sing. So he came over there to where Hanuman was staying. Hanuman was outside, just doing whatever he's doing. And Narada Muni approached him and said, you know, I've heard you're such a wonderful singer. Would you mind, could you please sing something for me? And Hanuman was happy to do that. Now, of course, Narada Muni, he carries a veena wherever he goes. It's sort of, you know, like, it kind of looks like a sitar to some degree, but it's just, you know, got a few strings. It's not such a sophisticated instrument like a sitar. So anyway, Narada Muni, Hanuman sat down, and Narada wanted to put his veena down, but he didn't want to put it down on the ground because he regards it as being sacred. And you know, anything which is sacred, we don't put on the ground. Yeah. Like scripture, sacred books, we don't put them on the ground. So there was, right where Hanuman was sitting, there was some rocks. And Narada Muni put his veena on one of the rocks and sat down to listen to Hanuman. So Hanuman started singing something, and just most incredibly beautiful. And Narada Muni was just overwhelmed. But he didn't notice until it was too late that the rock was melting, because Hanuman's singing was such that rocks would melt. So the rock that Narada Muni's veena was on was melting, and the veena was sinking down into the rock. And Narada Muni's just in ecstasy, but then suddenly he noticed, wow, what has happened to my veena? And so he shouted out, stop! Hanuman, stop now! Stop right now! And Hanuman was just shocked. What happened? What happened? And Narada said, look, my veena has sunk into the rock. And now, because Hanuman has stopped, so the rock has become rock again and is sort of closed around the veena. And Narada tried to sort of wiggle it loose or get it loose, but he couldn't. So what to do? Narada Muni said to Hanuman, could you please, if you wouldn't mind, sing again so I can get my veena back? And Hanuman said, what? First of all, you practically beg me to sing. Then you shout at me that I must stop immediately. And now you want me to sing again. What is this? What is this? Who do you think you are? And Hanuman just walked off to the palace with Narada Muni following him and apologizing. And, you know, it was such a shock, and I'm sorry. And, you know, I got carried away, but if you could please sing again. But Hanuman's just refusing. You know, like when they wanted him to give the sun back. No. No. So Hanuman took him just led him into the palace. And then in the palace, it wasn't one of these giant palaces, but, you know, it was fairly big and on 2 levels. So Hanuman took him first into one room and then sort of around the room inside, then to the next room and around the room, and then the next room and the next, and after a few more rooms, They went upstairs and into the rooms and sort of around inside the room and into the next one and like that. And then Anjana came, Hanuman's mother, and said, "What are you doing, Anjaneya? What are you doing? This is Narada Muni. He is a worshipable saint. You can't treat him like this. If he wants you to sing again, you sing again." And Hanuman said, yes, okay, all right. But the thing is, my dear Mataji, that the dust of the lotus feet of great devotees is the most wonderful substance. It's the most pure and the most purifying substance. So I wanted to get the dust from his feet inside the palace and in all the rooms. So I've taken him to all the rooms. They're all full of the dust from his feet. So anyway, now we're finished, so I'll go out and I'll sing again. And he did, and Narada Muni got his Veena back. So he's a character. He is. Gosh, is he a character? Yes, okay. So now, another interesting little pastime. I mean, in certain ways, it's extremely interesting, actually. This is now, it's after some years, and it's immediately after Mother Sita was kidnapped, and Lord Ram, like the same day, and Lord Ram is just deeply, 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 transcendentally disturbed and lamenting and lamenting. In fact, his lamentation in Valmiki Ramayana fills, if I remember correctly, 5 chapters. Just Lord Ram lamenting about Sita having been kidnapped and what he's going to do about it and what he's going to do to the person who kidnapped her. It's pretty dramatic. And who should appear on the scene but Hanuman? This is the first time that Lord Ram and Hanuman met. They had not met before. But Hanuman knew who was Lord Ram. And now he understands that Mother Sita's been kidnapped. And so he said, well, he couldn't speak to Lord Ram because Lord Ram was just too transcendentally, spiritually, you could say, disturbed. So he spoke to Lakshman and said, okay, you know, Lakshman, I have a whole team, a huge team of monkey associates. We know the whole area, the whole region. We know just all around here for hundreds of kilometers. So we'll find Sita. We will find where she is. He's speaking to Lakshman. So, okay, Lakshman, please just tell me what she looks like. Because Hanuman had not seen Sita. Please tell me, what does she look like? And this is quite a classic story, actually. Lakshman said, I don't know what she looks like. And Hanuman said, listen, Lakshman, come on. I'm trying to help you. Just tell me what she looks like, please. And Lakshman said, look, I don't know what she looks like. And Hanuman became a bit angry and said, look, I'm trying to help you. You know, you've been together for years. I mean, you've been in exile together because it was almost the end of the exile time. Now, you've been together for like 12 or 13 years, like 24 hours a day for all these years. So just tell me what she looks like. And Lakshman said, listen, I am telling you, I do not know what she looks like because I've never looked above her feet. So, I mean, that's, anyway, that's food for thought, isn't it? So anyway, then the idea was, because now they're down in current-day Tamil Nadu, kind of near the coast. And so they heard, I mean, it's a bit of a long story, but that Ravana, carrying Sita, had flown in the direction of Lanka. So, okay, let's send someone over to Lanka and make sure she is there, just so, we don't waste our time going and attacking Lanka, but she's not there. So then, who's going to jump over? And none of the other monkeys, well, there was one, maybe it was Sugriva, I forget, who said, yeah, I can jump there, but I won't be able to jump back. And others were saying, well, I could jump halfway. And then Jambavan reminded Hanuman, listen, you forgot, but you have so much power, practically unlimited power. You can easily jump there and easily jump back. And then Hanuman remembered, oh, you're right. Up to that point in time, he had not been aware. He was so powerful. Yeah, you're right. All right, I'll do it. And he did. And he took the ring, one of Lord Ram's rings, just, to show if he finds, because he doesn't really know what Sita looks like, but show her the ring, and then if she recognizes it, then that'll be sort of like a proof that this is actually Sita. So he jumped over and found Sita in the, what you call the tree? Ashok, the Ashok grove. And he showed her the ring, and she immediately, this is Ram's ring. But then he had some doubts. She probably has it figured out, I've come on behalf of Ram. And so she sort of wants to say the right types of things, to trick me. But then Hanuman saw the lotus feet of Sita, and he saw the markings on the soles of her feet, underneath her feet, which had been described to him by Lakshman. And then he understood, this is Sita. This is definitely Sita. Because, rings, there's so many rings. But to have those types of markings, it's not just like sort of squiggles like we have, but they're actual like objects are depicted in the soles of the feet of Sita, of Ram, of Krishna, of Radharani, of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. So then he understood, this is Sita. This is Sita. So then, of course, there's more we could say. I've got a few minutes. I'll tell one more story. Let me tell the story of Red Hanuman. Are you all familiar with the story of Red Hanuman? Are you familiar with the story of, oh, you are? Are you familiar? Oh, you are? Are you sure? Okay. Anyway, the story of Red Hanuman. That, the battle in Lanka is finished. Ravana is dead. Sita is rescued. And now they return to Ayodhya. And now they're back in Ayodhya, so they start dressing and, so on, and wearing headgear and so on, which is that of royalty. When they were just, in the forest, they were not wearing like opulent clothing and crowns and all that. So they're wearing all these things, and Sita started using, what's it called? Not Anjan. Not Kung. Well, it is Kumkum. What do they call it? Sindoor. She started wearing sindoor. And, even though monkeys can speak Sanskrit, those monkeys, but it seems the female monkeys didn't use sindoor. And Hanuman saw that Sita now has sindoor in her parting all the way, not just a dot, but all the way back right to the crown of her head. And he'd never seen it before. And he came and he was looking at her. And Hanuman said, did you hurt yourself? Did you bang your head against something? What's this red? And Sita said, no, this is sindoor. And all of us married ladies, we all use this sindoor because it's good for our husbands. If the wife wears sindoor, like full head of sindoor or parting, then the husband will live a long life and be very healthy and strong like that. It'll be very good. So I'm wearing it for Ram, because it's good for Ram. And Hanuman said, really? It's good for Ram? Oh, I see. That's interesting. And off he went. And then Lord Ram came, just, seconds later, and is speaking with Sita in the same place. And suddenly what should happen? But a big red figure jumped out. Red from head to toe. Who is this? And then they realized, it's Hanuman. He's covered himself in sindoor, totally. And Ram said, Hanuman, what did you do this for? You've covered yourself in sindoor. And Hanuman said, well, Sita told me she just wears a little bit in her parting, and it's very good for you. And I just want the best for you. So I'm just going to wear this just all over. I don't care what people think. And Lord Ram said, Hanuman, it's okay. You don't need to worry about that. So you don't need to do that. Yeah, but that was the one incident where Hanuman wore red or orangey red sort of sindoor. And as we do say, for all married ladies, if you'd like your husband to live a long life and be very strong and healthy and happy and all that, and look after you very nicely, you must wear sindoor. Yeah, and really use it. Parting in the middle. Because parting in the middle means husband is at home. Parting on the right means he's away somewhere. And parting on the left means something else, I forget. But parting in the middle means husband's at home. Yeah, So ladies, just remember that, bear that in mind. And husbands, make sure they do like that. And I shouldn't say this, but, if you don't want him to live too long, you want to collect the insurance or something. Anyway, sorry, I shouldn't have said that, should I? Anyway, you know what to do. Okay, so there you go, everyone. Oh, we're 3 minutes over, I'm sorry. Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ke. Shri Hanuman Ji Ke. Hare Krishna.